Hello crypto traders, checking in on the sector. Definitely a lot of euphoria still going on in the crypto Twitter universe as the bulls maintain their full control. Altcoins continue to move easily and uptrends are all over the place. Bulls are buying dips, bears are getting no follow through. Did a little poll on Twitter to see what long-term holdings are. Mine are 58% Bitcoin, I think 28% Ethereum, 10% Litecoin. And in all the responses that we got, the takeaway for me is nobody cares about Litecoin anymore, which is interesting because Litecoin was the first major name to change longer term trends off of the bottom end of 2018, start of 2019. So no love on crypto Twitter for Litecoin, but something to keep an eye on because it is still following along with what everybody else is doing. So Bitcoin, the most important short-term support for us is going to be 97.06 on the daily chart. And the most important short-term support on the 4-hour chart is 10,250. We are currently in an hourly equilibrium, which should break within the next 3 hours or so and give us short-term direction. Bulls would love to see a bull break, obviously. But if we see a bear break with no follow-through, oftentimes shorter-term time frames in the past few weeks have seen bear breaks with no follow-through and instantly the bulls start moving higher. So I'm looking at our lower high of 10,447 and our support 10,264 and 250. Heading down towards those levels. And again, no bear volume proving anything. If you're going to start to prove that the bears are regaining control, I need to see very notable 4-hour bear volume. And you might look at this and say, well, there's your notable 4-hour bear volume. But if you look at the candlestick, that long lower wick tells us a lot of that volume was bulls buying the dip as well. So Bitcoin dominance chart is in free fall still. And I am very surprised that we have not seen a bounce yet. This daily RSI is 14 and the weekly RSI is right on the verge of oversold. So at this point, in the last video I said, we're going to either see this bounce take place in one of two ways. The first way is Bitcoin bulls break out and altcoins don't follow and Bitcoin dominance chart would bounce. The second scenario is we pull back and Bitcoin does not pull us back as much as the altcoins. So now that we've seen continued 2 days of follow through, I'm going to shift what the most likely scenario is there because I don't foresee Bitcoin. The altcoins are too strong right now for Bitcoin to head up to 11,000 and for the altcoins not to significantly benefit. So in my opinion, this bounce will occur when our temporary tops have been set and when Bitcoin is then going to pull back less than the altcoins. The altcoins are not seeing as much support being established on the way up because they are running harder. We'll look at Ethereum as an example of that. And also there's a whole bunch of traders that are going to sell altcoins eventually or lock in some profit and potentially go back into Bitcoin when they do that. So shifting that perspective, anticipating that Bitcoin will pull back less when our temporary tops have been set. So this is what I'm talking about names getting overextended. And it's just the faster you move up, the less support you establish. And all you got to do is go back and look at history and see when were our hardest pullbacks. Let's look at the daily time frame for just using Ethereum as an example. But the hardest pullbacks come when there's no support established on the way up. So this move, we went from 177 to 224 and then dumped. Obviously the all-time high, we shot up and then dumped right back down. The faster you go up, the faster you go down is generally how it works. And at this point, the last clear support level, look at the 4-hour chart. We've seen a higher low every single candle on the 4-hour chart for about 9 candles in a row now. So I would say that our last clearly established support is 216, and here we are 20% above that level. So again, there's no red flags whatsoever. Just be aware that when we do see a temporary top clearly set, that it will likely pull back a bit harder. So when we lose short-term momentum for Ethereum, we're just going to be looking for a 4-hour higher low and exponential support. 5-minute oversold conditions have been continuing to work. Look at Ethereum here, where right before the bulls showed back up, we had a drop. Look at the 5-minute RSI. It got down to 33 when it was at the low of the candle. It was at about 31. And again, people are front running those oversold bounces where they're not getting down to 27, 28 RSI because everybody wants in as soon as it's right above 30. And there we go from 252 to 268, a very significant, 5% bounce in just a couple hours on that 5-minute oversold condition. 5-minute equilibrium on Ethereum. Bulls in full control, hourly exponential 12 period as a visual guide of support. If we lose the hourly, we zoom out and look for a 4-hour higher low. ETH BTC chart, how's that for a convincing bull break? That monthly resistance was right about here. We broke it with no follow through. We saw a daily bull flag, and that is as convincing follow through as you can get. And that is a monthly trend change very clearly. First time since the all-time high run that Ethereum is now in a monthly uptrend compared to Bitcoin. That is very notable. The next most important major level is 4165, but Ethereum is performing so well the last 2 days, not only because Bitcoin's remaining strong, but because this Bitcoin pairing chart is exploding on this breakout. Anything above 2207 is a daily high or low. And now I can confidently say, as long as we are in a weekly uptrend on this ETH BTC chart, Ethereum is a better bull trade than Bitcoin is. That will obviously vary on short-term time frames from time to time, but bigger picture, that's what that monthly trend change establishes. Litecoin daily high or low is 72.46. Here we are hitting the high right now. So playing a little bit of a laggard just because Bitcoin is not breaking to a higher high at the moment, and neither is Ethereum. Ethereum is a bit sideways. So Litecoin trying to chug along and play catch up. The daily uptrend very clearly intact. 4-hour time frame. Short-term support of 77.73, and the next resistance level that we're going to look at now that we just broke 80 psychological, 80.26 is right here being tested, and then 86.07 is the next short-term level. More support established on the way up, but a slower and steadier move. LTC BTC, mostly sideways, a little bit of back and forth between Bitcoin being stronger, Litecoin being stronger, Bitcoin stronger, and now today, Litecoin stronger. Bulls would love to see a break of 7,889 to really start moving ahead of Bitcoin. If we do not break that level, it's still going to remain sideways for the most part. XRP finally breaking bullish after a tightening range here. Let's look at that on the 12-hour time frame. So we saw these little lower wicks continuing higher lows, and finally the bulls broke over this little double top in a convincing way. So nice new higher highs. Anything above 267 is a daily higher low. Next resistance level is 315 in the 4-hour chart. Anything above 284 is a 4-hour higher low. So for most names that we're going to be looking at now, the 4-hour uptrend is going to be the most important, because when that 4-hour uptrend is lost, we know daily consolidation is coming, and we know if that 4-hour uptrend remains intact, the bulls will keep their full control. BNB. So Binance, high or low every single day for the last 8 days. That's a pattern we're watching. The 4-hour time frame, exponential 12 period has been acting as support. About to test it again right now. I would say anything above 24.12 is a 4-hour high or low, but it's a bit of a double top here as well. And if we lose this exponential support for the first time on this entire week-long run, it may be time to take a breather and form a daily higher low. Plenty of space for that daily higher low to form. BSV, also forming a daily higher low every day for the last handful of days. 4-hour time frame, consolidating, looks very similar to Binance here, just in the sense that this 12-period exponential support has been a great guide for a handful of days. It's being tested right now, and if we lose the 4-hour uptrend, we will look for the daily higher low. BCH USD, daily support is 422.17. 4-hour uptrend, exponential support still holding, and looking for a 4-hour higher low to form right now. 4-hour consolidation underway. Anything above 440 is a higher low. Link USD has been one of the lead altcoin bulls over the last 2 days, getting a lot of attention. Higher low every single day, 8 days in a row. A little bit of a bearish reversal doji, keeping in mind we have 5 hours left on the day, and we're going to see a volume climax here. It's going to be the highest volume day, certainly the highest dollar volume day we've seen in a very long time, but just the highest straight up coin volume in a few months. So whenever we see that after a big bull move, we have to be cautious of a short-term climax. But you look at the 4-hour time frame, and there is no red flag. I would have to see a loss of the 12-period exponential support in order to be looking for that to be a bearish reversal candlestick on the daily, because anything above, all the way back here, anything above 334 is a 4-hour higher low. XTZ has been another of the huge runners taking the spotlight today. Huge follow through, up over 20% today. Huge volume. 4-hour time frame. Have not formed a higher low since 255. So anything above 255 is a higher low. Hourly chart, anything above 326 is an hourly high or low. Bulls extremely strong. So the way you want to be treating this is if you are in a name like this and you know you want to be locking in profit eventually, use a trend. Choose a time frame and use that trend as your guide. You can say, if, I love if-then scenarios in trading to eliminate opinion and emotion. If XTZ USD is in an hourly uptrend, then I'm going to hold my position. If XTZ USD loses its hourly uptrend, I'm going to exit half of my position. Have these game plans established, otherwise your decisions are going to be in the heat of the moment based on emotion. And that's what we want to avoid. So a piece of paper next to your laptop, writing down your game plan will go a long way for having clarity and for executing that game plan. And then you can write down where you're going to look to reload. I will look to reload on a daily high or low off of 12-period exponential support. Whatever it is, establish that game plan and write it down. Congrats to the bulls. FOMO's still thick in the air. We'll see how long that keeps up. And again, anticipating that when the tops are hit, there's no sign of the top right now, but when it is hit, anticipating Bitcoin is going to pull back less significantly, percentage-wise, than all these altcoins that have been running really hard over the last week. Hope you're well. Don't forget to do good things out there to keep the good times rolling and keep that energetic capital flow in your favor. And we will see you soon. Have a good rest of your day.